This is the most lockdown defense in Madden 25 because of the insane blitzes that we can send at our opponent from all angles. Today, we're looking at the dime 1-4 formation in the Los Angeles Chargers defensive playbook, and in this video, I'm showing you guys how you can run one of the fastest blitzes in the game that will have your slot cornerback come in free with just 3 players rushing the quarterback. And of course, the full Los Angeles Chargers defense ebook with even more overpowered blitzes and coverage setups versus every type of formation is available right now on playbookprofessor.gg. And now, let's jump into this dime 1-4 scheme. For our personnel, we want to have the fastest players possible at both of our slot cornerback positions and our 2 linebacker positions so that our blitzes will come in as fast as possible. I always sub in fast safeties at both of my linebacker positions since they're typically going to be faster than actual linebackers. In the play call screen, pull up your coaching adjustments by clicking in on the right stick and make sure you have auto flip turned off and your alignment on base. After that, we can call pretty much any play in the formation, but we'll start off by calling cover 3 sky. Now for this blitz, we're always going to send our blitzer off the right side of the formation. And on this play, cover 3 sky, we have a slot cornerback who starts on a blitz assignment, and that's going to save us an extra step in this case in the blitz setup. And we will look at other plays where you don't have a slot cornerback starting on a blitz, and we'll show you how it still works. But let's get into the blitz setup. We're going to user with this right side linebacker, so I'm going to start by having him selected. Now our adjustments are to pinch our defense, which is to press RB or R1 and then down on the left stick. Then we're going to make sure our slot cornerback is blitzing. And so in the case of cover 3 sky, our slot cornerback is already on a blitz assignment. The next adjustment is to slant our D-line outside, which is to press left on the D-pad and up on the right stick. And then we're going to QB contain by double tapping RB or R1. And this is what your play will look like. The final thing we need to do is take our user and stand over here in the gap over the right guard. And this blitz seems to work a little better if you stand just inside of him, but even if you're directly over him, it will still work as well. But if it seems like the tackle is kicking outside late and getting close to picking up the slot cornerback, you can just move your user in a step or two, and that will help pull the offensive line inside even more. Now, the final thing I like to do is I like to hold the left trigger or L2 so that I am strafing at the snap, but that is completely optional. It's entirely up to you. But when this ball is snapped, what you're going to see is that the slot cornerback on the right side is going to come flying in and bring the quarterback down for instant pressure. Now, this is a 4-man rush, which is pretty good. It's always great to have instant pressure from a 4-man rush. But I said that this was going to be a 3-man rush. And so let's set this blitz up again, but we're going to do one extra adjustment. So let's go ahead and pinch our defense. Let's slant our D-line outside. Let's QB contain, and let's come over here and hover. And a quick note, of course, is that you can shade down. You can do extra adjustments with all your other players if you want to. The coverage behind this blitz can be whatever you want. We're just focusing on the blitz setup right now. But to have a 3-man rush, what we're going to do is we're going to take our left side defensive end, which is this player right here who's currently on the QB contain, and we're going to put him in any assignment that we want. Now, the easiest way to do this and the safest way to do this, in my opinion, is while you are selected on your user, we can use quick adjustments to change that defensive end's assignment without clicking off of our user. So we're going to double tap left on the D-pad, and it's going to pull up our D-line icons. Then you're going to select the icon of that player, which for me is X, and then you're going to put him on whatever assignment you want. So let's say I want to put him on a QB spy. I'll press left on the right stick, and now he's in a QB spy. And when we snap this ball, what we're going to see is that the exact same thing is going to happen. Our slot cornerback comes in, and you can see that the guard tried to slide out, but he couldn't really get there. And if we go ahead and run it again, what happens in practice mode is if you wait too long to snap the ball, then sometimes the blitzes don't work as well. But if we go ahead and get it set up real quick and just go ahead and snap the ball, what you're going to see is that our slot cornerback flies in completely unguarded and brings the quarterback down for an easy sack. Now, this is cover 3 sky, but we can do this in a ton of other plays as well. Well, my favorite place to do this out of is actually cover 4 drop. If our opponent is in, say, a 3rd and long or a 4th and long, then we can do cover 4 drop, and we can actually blitz that right side slot cornerback in the curl flat, and then I can just go and user that right side of the field on like the deep sideline, because we can assume that on a 3rd and long or a 4th and long, they're not going to throw short into the flat, and so we can just leave the short flat unguarded because they're not throwing there anyway. But the setup is going to be exactly the same here. We just have one extra adjustment, which will be to blitz the slot cornerback. So let's pinch our defense, and now let's go ahead and blitz our slot cornerback, which you can either do by clicking onto him and blitzing him, but if we're going to use quick adjustments, then we're going to double tap wire triangle for our defensive back icons, select our slot cornerback, and then press down on the right stick to put him on a blitz assignment. And besides that, it's exactly the same. Slant your D-line outside, QB contain, and bring your user over to here and hover over the guard. And of course, you can QB spy that defensive end as well. Now, if you're worried about the baseline press on your outside thirds and quarters, of course, you can always click onto one of these guys and just drag them back a little bit if you're worried about getting beat over the top on a streak. But a lot of times, I think you'll be just fine. If we go ahead and snap this ball, what you're going to see is that we get the exact same thing as before. The slot cornerback comes in completely free and brings the quarterback down for an easy sack. Now, you may be wondering, well, what if they block their running back? And let's go ahead and look at what happens in that case. If they block their running back and the running back is on the side opposite of the slot cornerback, then you have a really high chance of that blitz still coming in. Now, the running back will try to move across the formation and pick him up. Sometimes he will pick him up, sometimes he won't pick him up. If we go ahead and snap the ball here, we're going to see the running back is going to move across the formation. And you saw that he picked him up, but it was so close to the quarterback that most players are not just going to stand there and let a blitzer get that close to him. So it's definitely going to disrupt the pocket. And we can go ahead and do it one more time. And sometimes, again, not always, but sometimes if that blocked running back is on the opposite side of the blitzing slot cornerback, the cornerback will be able to come in. Oh, and I forgot to block the running back. That's my bad, guys. Let's block the running back this time. But probably about, I would say like 40 to 50% of the time, with a blocked running back on the side opposite the slot cornerback, the blitz will still get home to get the sack. So like you see right there, the running back tried to block him, but we got the sack. Now, in the case where the blocked running back is on the side of the blitzing slot cornerback, he will pick the blitz up. But if you think about the numbers difference we have, that means we have 7 or 8 players dropping into coverage, and they are only sending 4 people out on routes, which gives us a crazy numbers advantage in coverage. Now, if you're QB containing, like this pass rush won't come in very quick, and so if your opponent is blocking the running back, you may want to just leave the 4-man rush on, because 4-man rushes get much faster block sheds than the 3-man rushes. And so that's just something to keep in mind. And so instead of dropping that defensive end into a QB spy, maybe just put him on a normal pass rush assignment. And in that case, with our 4-man rush, even though the blitz will get picked up, you can see that we actually shed much faster. And so make sure you are aware of the differences between the 4-man rush and the 3-man rush. And if your opponent starts blocking the running back, just use the 4-man rush. You still have a huge numbers advantage because you'll be dropping 7 players into coverage while they only get to send 4 players out on routes. And as one more example, guys, we can of course audible into cover 2 sync right here, and the blitz is going to work exactly the same way. We'll go ahead and blitz our slot cornerback. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and drop off the slot cornerback on the left side into, we'll say, a curl flat. Let's say you want to Mabel that far sideline or something. I just want to show you guys that this blitz is going to work with any coverage shell that you put behind it, and it's going to be extremely fast pressure off of that right side. And now what I want to do is hop into an online game and show you guys this blitz in action against a real online opponent. And of course, if you're running the full scheme, you'll have 4 different blitzes in your arsenal. But for this video, I'm just going to focus on running the slot cornerback blitz off of the right side. All right, guys, so this is a game that I just played. I'm using the Bills and my opponent is using the Texans. It's a nice matchup of playoff teams, and I am kicking off first, which means we'll get to start on defense right away and get our blitz going early. And as a quick side note on kickoffs, I always recommend kicking to the left because you can either put it out the back of the end zone and your opponent won't return it, or if they do return it out of the end zone like my opponent does here, they can end up with pretty bad field position. My opponent ends up on the 22-yard line, and he would have been on the 30 if he just let it go out the back of the end zone. So I always kick off deep left. Now we're on auto flip off, alignment on base. I am subbing my safeties in at linebacker right here. and I'm moving some defensive backs around a little bit because I want a little bit more speed up top. The Bills' safeties are pretty slow, so I like putting one of my cornerbacks up there. But to start off, we're going to be in cover 6 press. I just really like blitzing in cover 6 press. We have all default zone drops right now, and we're just going to set up the blitz, pinch the defense, slants outside, QB contain. We got the slot cornerback on the blitz. We're hovering over the right guard with our user, and after our opponent snaps the ball, the slot cornerback comes in completely free. My opponent never saw it coming. We are starting off the game perfectly, putting him in a 2nd and 20. So now he's going to trips tight end offset, and we are going to be in cover 4 drop this time. And I really like using cover 4 drop. It's just like we talked about in practice mode. Basically, I'm assuming that my opponent is not going to throw to the short flat on the right side. I can take away the intermediate, middle, and outside on the right side. And look at that, the slot cornerback just comes in again. And now we have him in a 3rd and 20. And like I said, he didn't even bother putting a short flat route on the right side, so I'm not going to use a hard flat on the right side if that's not a spot he would throw to anyway. And so now we're using 20-yard zone drops on our curl flats and our hook curls because we want to just have our defenders play right at the first down line. My opponent is blocking his running back this time, and so you can see that the blitz actually did get picked up because he blocked his running back. That's okay though. We'll happily take 4th and 11. Going to move the zone drops down to 15 on the curls and hooks just to have them play, again, right around the first down line. In hindsight, maybe it would have been a little bit better to do 10-yard drops instead of 15. The one thing I'm worried about here is possibly a quick throw up the seam. So with my user, we're going to be instantly sprinting to the right. And it looks like he is going to block the running back again. But we're over there with our user. And this time we get a great coverage sack because like we talked about, he's only sending 4 routes out because he has to block his running back, which gives us way more numbers on the defensive side of the ball. And so that was a perfect example of using our slot cornerback blitz on that first drive of the game. All right, guys, so I did score on offense and I have a 7-0 lead, but my opponent came out and on his first play, he ran an under center formation and went all the way down the field and got down to the 25-yard line. So you do have to be careful in run defense. If there is any weakness of Dime 1-4, it can be susceptible to the run at times. But if you have a good user, you see right here that my user is going to loop back and remove the right guard from the play. And I was looping around to the outside in case the running back got to the edge. Unfortunately, it didn't even matter. We got a shed anyway. And so you just have to be careful in run defense. But as long as you can get your opponent in passing situations, then you're going to absolutely feast. So I jumped ahead. We're in the 2nd quarter. My opponent is blocking his running back still, but he's taking his short underneath routes, which is a good strategy. And this is where, if we were running the full scheme, we were running the full package of different blitzes, we would be able to blitz off of the other side away from the blocked running back. But like I said, for this video, I just wanted to really focus on the slot cornerback blitz and how even if you just run this blitz, just having the ability to, like I said before, force them to block the running back on every play and give yourself the numbers advantage on every play, it's such a huge advantage. So we got the 3-man blitz. He's blocking his running back. We're usering over the middle. You see that just nothing is open. And he can't scramble because of the QB spy, and eventually the pass rush comes in. If he tried to run left or right, the QB spy just completely cleans him up, and we have an amazing coverage sack. I'm going with 20-yard zone drops again for 4th and 18, and I'm going to go with cover 4 drop once again. And it's very similar to the last drive. We're going to send our blitz off the right side. He's going to have to block his running back if he doesn't want to face instant pressure. And I think right here I clicked off. And so this one was not the best from me. It did work out. I clicked off because I wanted to move my outside quarterback in case he tried to throw a streak over it. I should have done that a lot sooner. Fortunately, it worked out. But as you saw, I was not clicked on to the right people. But the 4-man rush, we shed, and we brought him down for another stop, our 2nd stop of the game. All right, guys, so I did score again on offense, and I have a 14-0 lead now, but my opponent still has a minute 51, which is plenty of time to go down and score, so we have to take this drive seriously because if he gets a touchdown, then it's still anyone's game. I'm back in cover 6 press. My opponent is in the Y-off trips nasty formation, and we are running the same setup. We're blitzing our slot cornerback, and look what happens. He said, oh, I don't want to block the running back this time. And now we took a huge sack. And so now my opponent is back to thinking, okay, I have to block the running back, because if I don't block the running back, it's just going to be instant pressure. Now, I don't love having the cover 2 shell over here on the trip side, but we're just going to kind of live with it, and we'll switch stick onto the deep half safety if needed. You see that my opponent is, of course, forced to block the running back again. He takes his underneath route, which is a fine read, but we'll give him that. He has no timeouts. It's 3rd and 7. The clock's running. We'll happily give him that. He's wasting a lot of time. And so he's going to go back to, I believe, the same play. And the one thing that he saw in the last play, and I should have had better switch stick on this play, is he is going to look for his crosser. Right here, I went ahead and rolled the safeties into a cover 3 shell, but he's got his crosser there. I need to switch it better. You can see I switched late onto my inside safety. Fortunately, the throw missed, and sometimes we just gotta be lucky. It was actually a good route from him, but this is Madden 25. There's some fluke that goes on, and so fortunately, we did get our 3rd stop of the game, and we're forcing him to punt once again. And I don't think Codrington is going to do anything too crazy on here, but we do have the ball with 11 seconds left in the half, and I'll jump forward to the next defensive drive. All right, guys, it is the 4th quarter. I have a 17-0 lead, so I'm feeling pretty good now, but it is Madden 25, and so you never know. You got to play to the final whistle. We are still running our cover 4 drop slot cornerback blitz. We are still spying out our defensive end, and my opponent is still blocking his running back. He has basically accepted at this point that he has to block his running back on every single play, which just gives us just such a massive advantage. And also at this point, if he just wants to throw flat routes and throw drags, we'll let him. So maybe he's just kind of given up at this point. But like I said, we're going to play to the final whistle. Now right here, I did change things up a little bit, and I am just in a normal cover 4 drop. We're not running the blitz. I blitzed my user so that we'd get the block sheds of a 4-man rush, even though it was a 3-man rush. That's an important thing to know, guys. And we've talked about it in practice mode. Let's talk about it again real quick. A 4-man rush sheds way better than a 3-man rush. And so if you're sending 3 people, but you want to shed like a 4-man rush, just blitz your user. The downside is you can't switch stick, but you will get better pressure. So if you're not using the switch stick anyway, then it could be worth doing. Although I do recommend switch sticking. Switch sticking is extremely powerful. But 3rd and 13, same blitz you guys have been seeing all game, and we just have everything bagged, and we're shedding like crazy. 4th and 25, he's gonna no huddle, and he's just like, okay, what's the best deep play that I've got? But did you guys notice something? His running back is now on the wrong side, and so when we blitz our slot cornerback, even with the blocked running back, he comes in free, and we get the sack. And that is how the game is going to end. My opponent is out of here, and the slot cornerback blitz in the dime 1-4 formation just completely ate him up. And so that is the slot cornerback blitz in the dime 1-4 formation. And don't forget, guys, the full Los Angeles Chargers defensive ebook has 4 different glitchy blitzes. We have the loop blitz, the engage blitz, the edge blitz, and the slot cornerback blitz. And so if you're looking for a new defense, I definitely recommend checking out the Chargers defensive ebook on playbookprofessor.gg. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.